I think we had this one last week too, but basically, take something. Fujara means to notice something. Okay, so hog may. So we switch it around. In this case, it makes sense. Fujara a is I noticed it. Hog me fujara e. So here's the word hog again being used for something completely different. It doesn't have anything to do with giving here. Okay? So the combination of hog and fujara means to notice. Okay? So you can think of maybe as take something fujara. Okay? Maybe under notice or something, but it doesn't really. You use this only really with this expression. Okay? So hogshe da fujara, so he noticed all this stuff, and in this case it's a smeja, so that's they're winking, and you just have to know the word smeja is winking. Okay, a smeja. It's a good righteous gresta. So righteous is their talk. Comes from the word ra to say. A good righteous is their talk. The word cuid we talked about a little bit earlier, like a good ishka would be their water, a good te their tea. A good righteous would be their talk. Okay? And gresta is vulgar. Okay? So, anyways, okay, so Davshe Slana Gachumpani, so he said goodbye to his friends. Liger nar hogshe asmejas a good righteous fujara, and pretended that he didn't notice. Okay, so lig er nar hogshe fujara is that he didn't notice, and then that stuff in the middle is what he didn't notice. Okay? Agus chrori amachi, and he directed her out, he led her out, okay? Trori is to direct someone, so he kind of let her out, okay? Amach is out, he is her. Goji is to, an oich, the place, in a rev, in which was, and Porsche is the Porsche, Parkalche is parked. Ege, so he directed out her to the place in which was the Porsche parked at him. So he had the Porsche parked. Okay. Let's go down to sentence E. So some examples of the notice idiom. So to say, did you notice it? Or hog tu fujara e.
Or hog tu fujara e.
Okay. So, or hog tu, that's the two part is telling who's noticing it. Fujara goes part with the idiom. A is it. So, or hog tu fujara e. And the way you answer yes, since the question is or hog tu, is just hog. Okay? And you say, I noticed it, hog me fujara e. Or someone asks, didn't you notice it? Nar hog tu fujara e. You want to say no, you say near hog. You say, didn't notice it? Near hog me fujara e. Okay? Now the other thing that's in here, to say the place where something was, it was, so I guess, Hori, Amahi, Goji, and Archin, a Rev, and Porsche Parkalche, I guess. So the place in which it was an arch in a revshe, that's sentence J, and related to that, the place in which it is now, an arch in a wilshe. And then, if you want to say the place in which I left it, an arch in a ogme. Okay, and so, basically, inna means in which in here, okay? So the place in which, and then will or rev can follow that, okay? And the reason rev comes after it's irregular, otherwise it does what most verbs do, which is you use inner in the past. Inner og, okay, in which I left, okay? So that one, sentence K is the way you'd say most things. So if you want to say the place in which I ate something, the place in which I saw, actually the saw is irregular, but the place in which I heard it or the place in which I wrote it, you would use inner and you would have the past form of the verb. So you can say an violin. That would be a sentence, but you can say the restaurant where I ate today. That would be an violin, the restaurant, in our itme, in which I ate in you today. Okay, so that little expression in our is pretty nice one to say things that, the one in which. Okay, the one in which I did something. And inna you use it's the one in which I do something regularly or with certain irregular verbs. Okay. So we'll see these kind of expressions popping up more and more as we go here, and so after we've seen them in a few cases, they'll hopefully start to make sense. Okay.
Will all cars be masculine? I mean, like a Ford or Chevrolet? Would all-
Cars, the word car is, depends, because it's a masculine word, but it's,
You know, like you have Porsche masculine. How about like a Mercedes or something? Would that also be?
it can be masculine or feminine, because people like to use feminine sometimes for cars, but it's not, has nothing to do with the type of car. It just depends on what the person decides to do.
Okay.
It's like ships are usually feminine, but cars in Irish typically are, but they're saying a here. Actually, they don't say it, do they? They don't really say here. Okay. All right. So back to the main sentence. So dag sé slán ag a chumpánaí. Lig nar thug sé, let's see, lig nar thug sé a sméide is a good righteous grace da faoi deara.
Leger nar thug sé a sméide is a good righteous grace da faoi deara.
Agus throirí amachaí
Agus throirí amachaí
go dtí an áit ina raibh Porsche parkáilte.
go dtí an áit ina raibh an Porsche parkáilte. Parkáilte. Yeah, parkáilte. Yeah. So again, the oil ending and oilche are used very often for words that come from another language into Irish, so like parkáilte. Okay. I was reading something the other day, and they had it was kind of like a cynical column. So he was talking about someone, and I guess getting bleeped out. So they said bleep oil to bleep oil to bleep. Okay, so that's, if you had to make up a word, that's how you do it. You stick the oil in, but okay. All right. Number three. Via Harasan sitje I deach ard merga I genter en severage in Chachar. So her apartment was located in a high stately house in a very rich area of the city. So via Harasan, her apartment was. Sitja comes from the word si to sit, and it means located. Okay, seated, I guess you can name it, but located, situated maybe, yeah. Okay. Sitja. Okay. Idjach. A house, meaning like I guess apartment house complex. Jack Ard is high or tall. Merga stately. Okay, so I'm just put together. Merga is stately. Okay, a ganter in an area. Canter is area. Okay. You want to say you're not from around here, you would say new to us in Genter show. You're not from this area. New to us in Genter show. Okay, so Cantor is area. Unsever is very wealthy or very rich. Sever is wealthy. Jen Chachar of the city. Chachar is city, Jen is of the. So Genter, unsever Jen Chachar. It's interesting because in Irish the word, so the wealthy is sever. There's a word, it's not the most common word used for it, but there's a word for poor, dever. Yeah. Sever, I guess, dever is wealthy and poor.
And there's a lot of words in Irish where there's the only difference between them is an S and a D at the beginning, and the S ones are good and the D ones are bad. Okay?
Is that related to sewer and doer?
I don't know about that.
And when would you say J on copper?
Would
Would you always just say Jen?
Jen Chachar, you wouldn't say J on. Jen. Yeah, J on becomes Jen. And it aspirates the following word. So Jen Chachar. Okay? So, other than the fact that there's new words here, I don't think there's any big grammar stuff on here. So, via harasan sitje idjach ard merga.
Via harasan sitje idjach ard merga.
Iganter en sever jen chachar.
Iganter en sever jen chachar.
Okay, we're cahar. Vi an troscan deir agus rachfa gobel na brog sa carpage divne. Sorry, sa sna carpage divne.